All right, everybody, what is going on? Happy Monday. Planet Dirty's back in the house. We are here for the Mountain Dew Voodoo and Jason X show. Christian had to bail just now, so it's going to be just me and you guys tonight. And since I can't end the show myself, I'm just going to go all night until Christian finally gets out of the hospital to come back and press, end the stream, because I can't just leave you guys here by yourselves. I've got to keep it moving until Christian gets back. He's not sure if he severed his thumb completely off. It's kind of just hanging there by some gristle and tendon. But I mean, it didn't look too bloody to me. I'm hoping that it's more of a just sort of a wrap it up and go home kind of thing, and not a ton of surgery, ton of stitches kind of thing, because that's expensive. That takes a long time. It's just a pain in the ass. So, oh, look, he's already back.
I wasn't trolling. I swear to God, my computer decided, hey, let's reboot ourselves. So
if you want me to get on here and nervously ramble about shit, I can do it. Case in
I know
point
you
just
can.
now. I'll keep it going. I'll keep it moving.
Oh man, Brad, what were you talking about? I didn't want to interrupt you.
I was just talking about you blowing off your thumb and having to go to the hospital. That's why you weren't on the stream yet. So now that you're back, I'm just I'm glad you're all right.
Thumb up.
Christian, how are you? Happy
I'm
Monday.
good, dude. Happy Monday to you. I'm
glad
excited.
Monday's over. Yeah, so am I.
I am. I'm excited. Monday's over. I'm really excited about tonight. What's the name of the show? This is the Jason X Mountain Dew Voodoo show.
Voodoo. Yep, exactly.
Voodoo. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Then we'll get rolling. Thank you, Saturn Video, with a $20 super chat. Damn. Research says as a Mountain Dew Voodoo is a cure for the Nutty Loon virus. Too bad the apes are holding it from humanity, leading us into a very nutty doom. While CHH becoming a nut, it's up to the Butterman to save us all.
I love it.
Brandon, what should we give him tonight, clip wise? You have a request? Review movies, hamburgers, burn burgers.
Oh shit! I don't know. Surprise me. I love them all. I love them all. Pick one of the newer ones. Surprise me.
It's better than all of them combined. Freddy's a nut.
More chuck for the buck.
Every time that guy says more chuck for the buck, I want a burger. You know, I don't know what it is about the way he says that, but I just want a greasy steak burger. That's what I want.
Well, I'm gonna start texting you that or send you a clip of that every hour. Let's welcome everybody. David Alvarez, Quentin loves horror and trains. Camp Flashback, Nick Demerit. I see your super chat, Nick. I'm gonna get right to it. Vengeance, Justin Smith. We got Brandon. We have like almost like, what do you call it when they're like, I guess you just call them regulars, right? Like we got a lot of the same people every show. They're here.
Yeah, there are our tried and true dedicated following, man.
It's incredible. Mark Williams, how are you? Andrew L. Ryan O'Leary, we got some Irish in the chat. I dig it. Saturn Video, Gregory Pale Kid, Zombie Madness. Nathan
Excellent.
Mills, Loop, Scratch Burno. Let's make sure I didn't see anybody else. Alpha, It Ain't No Butterflies. Mickey B. It's good to see everybody. Nightmare Films. It's good to see everybody in here.
Welcome.
We got $1.99 from the great Nick Demerit. He says, Nick is exhausting. That's what they say. Yep. And for that, I say,
with all these nicknames, everyone that I accumulate like 3 pounds of fat.
See what he did there? Nicknames. That's the pun right there, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Brandon.
Yes.
Are we going to bullshit for a few minutes? Are we going to talk Jason X? Or are we going to crank open the 2023? And by the way, guys, you see that little banner right here scrolling? Follow my finger. Jesus Christ, hit the damn like button. For fuck's sake, hit it. Anyway.
Hit it now.
Are we gonna crank open the Dew first?
We got to do this first, I think.
Do we got to get the photo? The
5-second
pose?
Go. Yeah. Okay, go. Hell yeah.
All right, there we go.
Hold on. I'll hold it for half an hour, dude.
Before you take a sip, thoughts on or guesses or thoughts on last year's or thoughts on last year's voodoo and expectations on this year's voodoo. What are you looking for this year?
I recall really liking last year's voodoo, but I can't remember the flavor of it. I think the year before last year's was better. The year before last year, I thought it tasted like a combination of dirt and patchouli, but in a good way.
Okay.
Last year, I just can't remember the flavor at all. But this year, I'm thinking since it's like a white soda, is it going to be like a citrusy? I feel like it's going to be like a citrusy, I don't know, lime, orange, or something weird. I don't know. I have no idea. A
little shout out to the can color. This year they got like a nice blue, a little poppy art. Last year's was like black and kind of muted. This one's really colorful.
It's like 80s neon. I dig it.
All right, guys, let's jump into this thing. Here we go. Let me get y'all the crack.
I'm jealous you found cans, man.
I found them today. Thank God.
I'm not trying to have a can. Cheers. The taste is very familiar.
It is familiar. It's got a good initial taste for sure. I'm trying to decide on the aftertaste.
I feel like it tastes off the cuff. It tastes like a combination of Trick cereal and Nerds. Somewhere in between that.
Do you steep? What is that aftertaste? There's something in the aftertaste that's very familiar. I can't pinpoint it though.
I don't know. I can't either, but that's bizarre.
I don't dislike it. I don't love it. I don't know. Time will tell. I don't know if the bottle is much different from the can in terms of flavor.
The can's got to taste better. Because like this is good, but like the cans always taste better, right, than plastic bottles.
Yeah, it's certainly white, just like that one.
I don't know. I'm gonna drink that slowly,
guys. If you cracked open the voodoo with us, give us your thoughts in the chat. Let's see. Saturn Video's claiming it tastes like cherry airheads.
That actually makes a lot of sense, actually.
Mark Williams says tastes like something from 2455, Jason X style. What's up, Akeem? He says he thinks the bottle tastes better than the cans. Well, that remains to be seen for me. White cherry icy is what I think, says Ben Grimm.
So there's a cherry through line here, looks like. I can agree with that.
Netstalker says, do you guys work or do you do YouTube full time? This is both of our full-time jobs.
Oh, yeah.
We work 2 hours a week.
We're making bank off this channel. We only work to keep the IRS off our backs, man.
Exactly.
That's the only reason.
Dirt and patchouli. Yeah, that's what Brandon recalled the last year's tasting like.
Very pleasant. Very pleasant.
Let's see. We got Cody in the house, dude, who loves movies. Planet C chicken is a nut. When Brandon is involved, you know you're getting more chuck for the buck.
Just want a burger. By the way, that smash burger I had this weekend was fucking fire, dude. I lost 45 minutes of my life, but it was well worth it. It was fucking fantastic.
Is Smash Burger a restaurant?
It's a type of burger, and I've been looking for a good joint around here for a smash burger for a long time. And I found this restaurant called Burger Rob's. I'm not sure if it's a chain or just like a one-off and done thing, but it was fantastic, dude. It was 2 patties, smash burger patties with cheese, ketchup, toasted bun, dude.
No, the smash burger, is that the technique where they literally they get those little round and
they press them down and it gets all crispy and the whole burger is like crispy. Yeah. Dude, it's fucking-tastic.
Like the rim of the patty, almost like super razor thin.
Yes, right.
Oh yeah,
dude, I love it.
And it's all cheese, it's all flavor. Yeah,
fucking A, dude.
Yeah. Jason says every year it's pretty much based off a prominent Halloween candy. I think it's good. I'd like to try it on ice.
Yeah, I want to try the can. I feel like cans are always better than plastic bottles, with the exception of glass bottles, which are always better than everything. But
maybe so. But I'll tell you what, Brandon, there's zero chance in hell twice on Sunday that the zero sugar flavor of this is even remotely good.
You bought the zero sugar, right? Or did you not?
This is regular.
Okay, regular. I thought
What's
you bought
regular?
both for some reason. Okay.
No,
good.
that's what Garrett got earlier today.
Okay.
Garrett got 0 because he's on he's.
Did you try that that Fanta yet or no?
I did not. I can
That's gonna
try
be
it.
bizarre, dude. That's gonna
I
be
can try
absolutely
it
bizarre.
tonight if you want me to.
I'm curious. They don't make a regular version of that, do they, this year? It's just that because I saw that at Publix and it was just the straight no sugar.
And it's 0. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
look,
didn't
dude,
see.
the 0 sugar soda game today. I know I'm not into it, but dude, like it's almost the standard. If you look at energy drinks, Brandon, if you're drinking an energy drink that has calories, like you're so behind the ball. Because all energy drinks nowadays, it's standard to have between 0 and like 20 calories. Most
Oh, yeah.
energy drinks are like that.
Mhm.
And I think most people like they expect an energy drink to be 0 cal. Monster's
Mhm.
really good about it. It's amazing drinking those Ghost energy drinks because they taste like a bottle full of sugar.
Yeah.
And there's only 5 calories. Now the artificial stuff in there, I'm sure that's not good for you either. But people are pretty ignorant, including myself. We typically only look at one thing, calories.
Mhm.
Because, one thing we learn in life is if you burn more calories than you take in, you'll lose weight. And I think that's the one benefactor that people
Mhm.
keep in their heads about nutrition, which is not really even remotely enough, right? Nor do I care to learn more, but like that's how people think, right?
Yeah.
So
And I clown about the aspartame thing. It does freak me out, but in reality, whether you're drinking sugar-free, natural sugar, or aspartame drinks, something in that mix is going to give you cancer inevitably. So really, it is just a big giant troll, you know?
yeah, but I'm with you on aspartame, and I was talking to Cindy about this when I got home. That is in fact why I started drinking Diet Pepsi about 7-8 years ago, because they started advertising about no aspartame.
Mhm.
Because people say it's a fucking narcotic, man. It'll kill
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah. Bizarre.
and and it's funny because I remember when I started drinking Diet Pepsis, dude, my headaches were blistering, and I thought something was wrong. I thought it was no caffeine in them. First, I was like, maybe I got to go back to Coke. And Sydney's like, no, it's that fucking aspartame. Keep drinking. Now I'm good. Now I live off Diet Pepsi.
Right.
Camp Flashback with a $4.99. He says, have to sleep early, have a good stream, homies. Spread the good gospel of Jason X, which we are going to talk about tonight.
Yes.
Brandon's a nut. Also, the Phantom Menace.
Hell yeah.
Also, the Phantom Menace saved my life at 99.
Dude, people sleep on episode 1 Racer for the N64. I swear to God. That was one of the funnest racing games of all time.
It was. I had it for Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Same game.
That's bizarre. Yeah.
Really quick for Camp Flashback. God bless you. God keep you. Let's see what this one is. I don't even know what it is.
I found this.
Hell yeah, man. Congratulations, dude. That's amazing. Hell yeah.
Dude, look at that wild mustache. I got to regrow that fucking shit.
People actually liked it.
I know, man. It was iconic. Son of a bitch. I lost all my powers, man.
Well, you're starting to get the Goldberg right now.
Yeah. It's starting to come back. I could just let it go, but I'm going to keep it shaved a little bit further. Maybe one more week. I'll grow it back then.
Thank you, Camp Flashback. Yeah, thank you, dude who loves movies. The Phantom mystery flavor turned my shit green.
Damn.
Oh
Cody, a lot of stuff turns your shit green, Cody. The Takis, I think you were saying. The soda. What is going on, Cody? I don't think it's the food. I think it's something else.
Maybe he just ate a bunch of green food that day. I don't know.
It's all that space cocaine. It's what it is, man.
Brandon, let's get into. Thank you so much, Cody. Cody, I wanted to see if Cody wanted to hop on. He could not because I know he's a Mountain Dew fan. He could not make it tonight though. But we love you, Cody.
Damn it, Cody.
Brandon, so let me get this started, guys. And then again, after this, guys, the show is yours. Of course, we're going to answer any questions or talk about whatever topics you guys have. You saw Jason X in the theaters, didn't you?
I did not, unfortunately. I missed it.
Were you aware of it when it was in the theaters?
I was, and the week it came out, I wanted to see it. And a couple of friends of mine on the school bus actually saw it, and I went to go see it that Friday or something. It was already gone. Or it wasn't playing locally, or there was some reason I couldn't see it at our theater. And then it was out of theaters pretty quickly from what I recall. So I never even got the chance to like go to another town and see it. It was just there and then gone. So
were you aware? were you aware of the leaks and people at school maybe said, "Hey, you could download the movie or something"? Were you privy to any of that?
I was not. I hadn't heard any about that stuff. I saw the Fangoria articles about the film. I was excited about it. My friends and I would speculate on it, but I heard nothing about the leaks until way after the fact. So,
Joe Jack says, and we're gonna get into our thoughts in the movie, Brandon, because I think me and you are gonna have the same sentiment. Joe Jack says he saw it in theaters, but he was disappointed, but he came around to liking it.
yeah.
Jason L. Christian, really enjoy your channel. Your passion for horror movies is pretty damn infectious. God bless you. I appreciate that, Jason. If you like my channel, you ought to check out Brandon's channel, Tabata Vision. He's got his link
Please.
right there, youtube.com/Tabata That's a conversation you got to have with Brandon, not me, Cody.
A giant fucking iguana. I can't do it, Cody. I just can't do it.
Brandon, I did get to see this movie in the theaters. I was a baby. So I was born in 92. So what was I in 2001?
8.
2001 or 2?
9.
Yeah. I was a kid, right? But
Yeah.
I was so aware of the character of Jason. I didn't even really know the term Friday the 13th, or I did. I'm sure I did, but I just knew Jason. It was bigger than the name of the movie. Dude, it scared the piss out of me in the theater as a kid. There's nothing funny. When you're a kid, there's nothing funny about Jason X, right? It would just scare the shit out of me. And I got so scared, my mom didn't let me go see another horror movie for a long time after that. And I remember she would not let me see Freddy vs. Jason in the theaters because she was like, "No, you were terrified." And I was like, "I'm older now; it's all good." I got on VHS, but I didn't revisit Jason X obviously for many years. I seriously think if one movie benefits more from time in this entire franchise, it's got to be Jason X. I feel like there was finally a time where people, a lot of us got our head out of our ass and said to ourselves, wait a minute, why am I criticizing this for not being scary or serious? They weren't trying to. It's almost as if you were criticizing, I don't know, Hulk Hogan for not being able to do a hurricanrana or some crap, or do like a moonsault. He's not trying to. That's not what he's about. It's like you're criticizing it for what it's not when it's not trying to be that, right? I feel like a lot of it. And then finally it was just like, you know what? Why do I want to hate this film? There's zero reason to hate it. It's just, this movie is like a fucking trampoline for an hour and a half. It's just bouncing fun.
Yeah.
And I think Jason X has gotten, I think it's aged the best out of any of the New Line films, quite frankly. In my opinion, for me anyway. I mean, I love Jason Go Straight to Hell, but Jason X, every time I start talking about that one, man, dude, Jason X, you could say, Christian, you should watch it tonight. That's one, zero question. I will watch it at any time. For some reason, Jason X, I have no issue watching that at any single time. If you tell me, let's watch Freddy versus Jason, I kind of want to prep for it because it's a main event movie. And I'm not saying Jason X isn't, but I also don't think it is a main event movie, and that's fine. I think it's literal junk food. So
yeah, it's sort of a comfort food film in the series for sure.
So my final thoughts really quick is it's so fucking fun, and Uber Jason is great. I can't stand people that say Uber Jason looks like shit. Go fuck yourself. Okay, go ahead, Brandon. I love this movie.
No, I was just gonna agree with you because there's still a lot of division with the Jason Goes to Hell camp. Freddy versus Jason, there's a lot of division there, but I feel like Jason X is the one film from New Line that is just absolute fun, and I feel like everybody can at least admit that it's entertaining. Even those who are like, oh, I wish it was darker and more serious, you can at least have fun and be entertained by Jason X, whether you like it or hate it. It's still something you can watch and be like, oh, this is pretty interesting, if that makes any goddamn sense at all.
Definitely.
It's so good, and I hate the fact that it's so what's the word I'm looking for here? It was so maybe because of the leaks and stuff, it was so underrated at the time when it came out. It's just, I wish it had been a bigger hit right out the gate.
You see what Joe Jack says? Do you think a lot of people were like that, including myself? Because I was critical of it when I first got back into horror, or I not got back into it, like legitimately was like, I'm going to start watching all these goddamn movies. And I was 17, 18, whatever, when I got reintroduced to the film. He says, yeah, it wasn't trying to be serious or scary, but I was 16. I didn't get it. I mean, do you think that was the case for maybe some people? I feel it's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it was such a weird sequel, too. Like, it was really out of nowhere because the last movie was almost 10 years prior. It was Jason Goes to Hell, which, as goofy as a movie that was, it was still had serious undertones to it. It wasn't like a goofy space opera. So this movie just came out of nowhere. It wasn't really connected to part 7, 8, 9. It just came out of nowhere. I think people were really put off by the it was almost like a straight to DVD type of film, just out of nowhere, a random Jason movie. But yeah, we rented it from Blockbuster, not Videoland this time, but Blockbuster, with my uncle, and he wasn't a huge fan of the franchise. He just wanted to see it, and so did I, because I hadn't seen it in theaters. And we had a fucking blast watching Jason X. It's funny because it's such a bizarre film, but it's so fun from start to finish. And I think there's that special features documentary, I think on the first DVD release of the film, where the girl says Jason X is not afraid to be Jason X. And like, that's the perfect summation of everybody's thoughts on Jason X. Like, it's just not afraid to be what it is, which I think most films are the opposite. If that makes any fucking sense.
100% agree. 100% agree. And, you know, Sean has talked about, oh, let me get this really quick. Thank you so much, Logan Hennessy. Is that how I say it? Logan Hennessy. Fado, I'm working on growing my 4K Blu-ray horror collection. Could you each pick one must-have item? What would it be? Price doesn't matter. Brent, are you cool to answer this real quick?
Does it need to be 4K?
4K / Blu-ray. So I guess
I'm gonna go. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the Return of Swamp Thing. That's my first choice.
Lightning Video 4K, by the way, which is under the MVD umbrella, if memory serves. I would say, Logan, I'd go to my basic bitch answer, but I definitely think the Return of Living Dead 4K from Scream Factory is one of the most comprehensive releases you could get. Any kind of special feature that was on the MGM DVDs, the special edition MGM DVD / Blu-ray, and the More Brains documentary is included in that release with the original mono soundtrack. That 4K, it's also my favorite movie as well, Logan, but that is the most comprehensive 4K release Scream Factory's ever put out. So much bang for the buck. Get it now, because something about Return of the Living Dead, that license doesn't seem to last very, very long with Scream Factory. So go for that. Return of the Living Dead. So Brandon, somebody said earlier, here it is, Javier. Jason X has arguably the best kill in the franchise. Now, obviously, what we're referencing is the, what do you call it? The ice blast, the face smash.
The cryo, whatever that is. It's a fantastic death sequence for sure. Yeah.
Didn't they do a Mythbusters episode on that?
They did, and I think they debunked it, didn't they, or did they prove it would happen?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I thought they debunked it, or like it kind of partially happened, but not all the way like it does in the movie. I think it was debunked, but I could be wrong about that. But that's not even the only death in the movie that's great. Like I feel like every single death is pretty damn good, or at least gnarly, more gnarly than we're used to.
What were your thoughts on the, and for the chat as well, what were your thoughts on, like, did it ever cross a line, you think, though? Like, do you remember when they were doing the VR laser tag stuff, and there were like these demigorgon things like fighting them? Like, was that crossing a line, you think, or do you just think like it's space? There's, if there was a line, it was when you left the ozone layer. Like,
exactly. I think that shit was absolutely perfect. As a matter of fact, I wish it would have been more outlandish, you know what I mean, than that. But I thought that was really pretty creative stuff, especially when Stone Cold Steve Austin gets his head chopped off. He's like, game over.
Todd Farmer.
I swear to God, he looks like Stone Cold.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. One of my favorite characters. I mean, what is your favorite character in the film? Because I really enjoy the actual professor who finds Jason. He starts talking to his boss, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to screw all these guys out of the money of finding the educational spirits novel."
That's a great question. And Jason X, my favorite character is probably, what the hell is her name? I think it's probably the android chick. Honestly, she's a lot of fun.
Yeah, her name slipped me. Is that the one that's in Chucky season 1? Somebody was saying somebody from Jason X is in season 1.
Her handler in that movie is pretty funny too. The guy, what's his name? The guy who creates her. They're both pretty damn funny in that film. But what is the guy's name who fights Jason at the end? The guy's like out in space with him.
The black guy, I think his name was Waylander or
Yeah,
something.
that guy kicks fucking ass too. So I don't know. It's hard to say, man. Every character in that film you either love or you love to hate. So it's bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre.
Netstalker's asked this a few times. Let me get to this really quick. I need advice. Should I sell my whole collection of Scream Factory? Why I ask this from you is because the route, I'm assuming this is what he means. The route they are going, they're doing everything in 4K. Should I sell now before they lose value? It's so hard to say, Netstalker. Not only could it be possible that they're releasing everything on 4K again, but they could lose the Blu-ray releases they could lose the 4K upgrades to a different company, but then you risk this is where it gets sticky. Then you risk you could risk losing, if you sell your Blu-ray of said movie, you could lose the special features from the Scream Factory stuff if they're the ones that created it. But there's a chance it could be on there. MVD bought the documentary for Ghoulies 2 and Ghoulies 1 from Scream Factory and ported those over to the MVD rewind releases. It's hard to say. I'd just go at a case-by-case basis. Use your best judgment. It's hard. I struggle with this myself, Netstalker. I really do. I'd just say wait before. Don't buy anything that's out of print. Wait, because it's all coming around the corner. The only thing I don't think is coming around the corner for some reason is the Sleepaway Camp films. I'd love to be wrong, but I just think 2 and 3 are fucking stuck, and they may be stuck for a while. So my biggest recommendation, I know it's not the best answer for you, but don't pay for anything out of print. That's my best advice to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry I can't help more, but it's a really hard question to answer, Netstalker. There's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
Jason X is awesome. Just put it on and enjoy it for what it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather watch Jason X. Let me ask the chat, and this brings up a good point. Vention says, "I'd rather watch Jason X than Jason Goes Straight to Hell." Guys, in the chat, do me a favor, because I want to be able to make sure this is going what I'm asking you. Put either Jason X with the greater than sign goes to hell, or put goes to hell with the greater than sign. I want to see what you guys say. I'm curious about this, Brandon. I really do wonder which film has the bigger fan base in 2023. Is it Jason Goes Straight to Hell, or is it Jason X?
What are you going with for yourself? My answer is kind of complicated a little bit.
I think gun to the head, I got to go with Jason X.
Yeah, Jason X is you can kind of watch Jason X endlessly.
That's why I said I can put it on like I said, dude, anytime.
But it really depends on the day, like what mood I'm in and stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes if I'm in a more somber mood, Jason Goes to Hell is the better choice. It really depends, man.
Do you agree with this? This is one thing I will say about Jason Goes Straight to Hell. I feel like Jason Goes Straight to Hell is the last truly vintage feeling Friday the 13th film.
It is for sure. I'm not really sure why, but maybe it's because that era of Jason Voorhees, the look went on to so many more things after that. Like he was on posters, stickers, stand-ups. Like that was the look of Jason from that point on.
I feel like there's an aesthetic threshold that in terms of culture and style, that once you get crossed that, it's like not as, you could say, okay, Jason X is technically, well, it's way over 20 years old now. If they really filmed it in the 90s, and it was supposed to come out in like 99, but then got shelved for a year or so.
Yeah.
But still, there's an aesthetic, there's some sort of aesthetic threshold by like 1996 or 7 that's crossed to where it doesn't feel as vintage to me as like 1992 or 3 when Jason Goes to Hell. To me, that's like that was a different world, different culture. And like there's the threshold that was crossed by the time Jason X came out. So that's why I say Goes to Hell to me is the last truly vintage Friday movie in every sense.
Yeah. And what's bizarre to me about Jason Goes to Hell, and everybody's going to disagree with me about this, probably even you, Christian, is that Jason Goes to Hell was the first of 4 New Line films, right? Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, and the reboot of Friday the 13th. Jason Goes to Hell does not feel like a New Line film to me. It feels like it still could have come out in the Paramount era. It has that same gritty, low-budget quality to it. It feels more like Paramount to me.
I totally agree.
New Line cinema.
I totally agree. No, I totally agree
It's
with
bizarre.
you.
Like it doesn't match the other films, but it still feels like Paramount. It doesn't feel like New Line.
1000%. I
bizarre,
totally,
dude.
and that's another reason why I say that I couldn't have articulated it as well as you did, but that's why I say it's like the last truly vintage feeling.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is the Manfredini score too.
Yeah. The only thing I regret about that score is I like the score for Jason Goes to Hell. That was really where he started using that like
he was on, dude, talk about cocaine. Dad, and then you just hear these guys in the back on.
I wish it had been more orchestral because you could tell he was using a lot of those early 90s synths. It was a big like synth orchestra. It wasn't like a lot of actual strings and stuff. That's the only thing I regret about the soundtrack a little bit. Same with Jason X. I wish it had been a little bit more orchestral.
Okay, so in let me do this real quick. All right, so let's see what we're going with. Jaden says Ghost Hell better than Jason X. Joe Jack says X is better than Hell. Retro Ryan prefers Goes to Hell. Andrew L prefers Goes to Hell. Wow. Amric goes to Hell. We got some Jason X love. Goes to Hell. Goes to Hell's winning. Jason X.
I think Goes to Hell is becoming fucking huge and people aren't even aware of it. I feel like that's becoming a juggernaut as a cult following.
Yeah.
For real.
Dude, Jason Goes to Hell is winning. Oh, we're getting a little bit of stretch. Jason X. Brand, I'd say it's 60-40.
Yeah.
Goes to Hell.
Yeah. Shit.
Nathan Mills, I just wouldn't do that. Don't
Jesus.
pay $180 for those movies. There's so many great titles available now. Do me a favor, Nathan Mills. Just somehow go watch those movies, get it out of your system, and then you'll be like, okay, I just watched the movies. I'm good for 7 months. Now let me go buy some really nice physical media that I can get for retail now. Don't do that.
They're on Tubi, aren't they? Both 2 and 3 are on Tubi, I think.
I would not doubt it.
Yeah.
Because Tubi has the best business plan. No exclusivity whatsoever. Split ad revenue 50-50 with the company.
Yeah.
And make fucking billions. That's all they do.
Do you want to hear something fucking crazy? It really burns my ass, dude. So remember I said I purged most of my DVD collection a couple years ago when Isabella was about to be born to make some more money and clear up some space for my Blu-ray collection, just make space in general. I sold 85-90% of my collection, and a lot of it went to declutter. Do you remember declutter.com?
I've never heard of
sell
that.
a bunch of crap. Well, you can sell bulk items in bulk for like a quick buck. And I went back to my account and it still lists everything I sold. And there's like, I'm going to do a live stream about this in the next couple of weeks where I can show everything I sold. And I sold hundreds of titles for like 28 cents, $1, 75 cents, horror movies, comedy movies, out of print movies, rare stuff for pennies on the dollar. And I could just kick myself in the ass because that stuff is worth like 10, 15, 25, 30 bucks on eBay now. Easy. And I sold it for literally less than pennies on the dollar just to make a quick buck. I'm so fucking infuriated, dude. But I can see the whole list of stuff I sold. I'm just like, dude, isn't it cost me at least 10, 15 bucks to replace every single one of these? It is bullshit, dude. Don't sell your collection. I promise. I'm never doing that again. I don't care what fucking format it is. I'm never purging my collection again. Never. Never gonna happen.
Jesus.
Anyways, I digress.
I'd like to see what all you got rid of. New segment, what burns Brandon's ass.
A lot of stuff. Habanero peppers for sure.
Shutter, Arrow Player, and Tubi, the unholy trifecta, where to look for almost any horror film. Akeem says Jason X is a stupid ass movie,
but a fun stupid ass movie. Just like Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
Just like Freddy versus Jason, when you think about it.
This is the case for a lot of people, Brandon. Gregory Pale says, I've sold my collection 3 times. Like, you get rid of it, then you miss it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not. I should try that sometime.
On video.
That sounds sweet.
What the fuck? right, Brandon. So on Instagram the other day, I want to ask you this. I posted a picture of my Dawn of the Dead and my Day of the Dead posters. I want to ask you. I think I know the answer to the movie. Which one is the better poster, and which one is the better movie?
Day of the Dead is the better movie, but the poster for Dawn of the Dead is iconic and it's better.
Oh, I
But
totally agree.
I will say this though, and this is kind of cheating. The VHS art for Day of the Dead wins everything. The painting of Bub with the Army of the Dead behind him. It's the DVD double disc artwork at the same time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have it. I got it at a second and Charles store, and
Yeah.
it's somewhere in here. I gotta find
That
it. I
shit
should have.
fucking reigns supreme, dude.
It's got the little flap thing that pops out on the front.
Yes, it's that artwork. It's the iconic VHS artwork. Tripped me out as a kid. I think it's better than I think the Day of the Dead poster itself, the regular theatrical poster that you had in comparison, is actually kind of lame compared to the Dawn of the Dead poster.
Yeah,
but that VHS artwork is great.
The Day of the Dead poster. It's a solid poster, but when you set it next to that Dawn of the Dead, it's undeniable,
primo, dude. Yeah,
I was so happy when I was hanging these up. I was like, because I like to theme out my posters. Like I have 1-2 combinations here and stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, I love Day of the Dead the most too, right? And when I put these up, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like Dawn of the Dead is probably one of the best horror movie posters I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's incredible, and I love the purple that turns into white. It's incredible.
It's fantastic.
Let me see. What about what about the poster for Jason X and the poster for Jason Goes Straight to Hell?
Oh, the poster for Jason Goes to Hell is fucking primo, dude. That chrome mask with the like fucking
the snake thing,
the snake monster thing on it, dude. That shit's the poster makes the movie seem like it's a fucking juggernaut in and of itself. The Jason X poster is all right, but the fucking dude, Jason Goes to Hell poster is absolutely iconic.
Have you seen the French Jason X poster, which features an Uber Jason fully?
I don't think so. Can you pull it up?
Yeah, I've got a little 11x17 of it. It's cool. You may like it more. Here. Let me see. It's not that much cooler, but I like it more than the theatrical. It just features Uber Jason.
Yeah, that is way cooler than the drawing.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty trippy looking.
Yeah. So instead of that split like the American version, it's just fully Uber.
Yeah, that expression looks fucking pretty damn grim, dude. I like that shit.
Yeah. I've got a 11x17 of it, but I would, if I could get a 27x40 of that, I would. And put up, like as Retro Ryan says, I change up my posters like Leonardo DiCaprio changes out broads.
I know we talked about this a little bit on that. We did a Jason X watch with me, you, Nick, and Lauren.
Yeah,
6-7 months ago. Remember that? We asked a question like, would you guys want to see that original darker version of the film that the director wanted to do? Do you think that would have been better, or do you like the hokey, campy version we got? Because for me, it's like I like the hokey version we have, but I'm really curious to see what the darker, serious version would have looked like. Like, would it have been Alien? Like, that would have been fucking sweet, right?
I think so, for sure. I mean,
I just want to see it.
It would. I feel like there'd be zero in between with it, though. Like, it either have to end up being extremely good or laughably bad at how hard they tried and just failed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they made the right decision myself.
They did.
That because even Jason's never a joke. That's why it works, right? I mean, that was something Manfredini Jr. whatever's not Manfredini Jr. Mancuso Jr. was always like, we can have fun. Just Jason has to be a threat.
Yeah.
You know. So I think they end up doing the right thing myself. Now it took years and years to rise, to rise that Titanic out of the water, but in terms of reception, but Mike Mack says darker is always better. I don't. It's hard, right? Because like you're always only gonna have the one film to react or review. It's not like it's like it'd be something if they would say, "Hey, we're gonna make this movie and we're gonna make a funny version and a scary version."
Yeah.
You know, I wish somebody had enough money to do that, and then like whatever tested better.
Yeah, I guess it's hindsight because like films like what's a good example? Alien Resurrection was supposed to be a much darker film, but like I wouldn't want that movie to be different from what it is now. And that movie is lighthearted in a way and hokey. It's still serious, but like if that movie was super dark, I don't think it would be as fun. Alien Resurrection.
I love that movie. I wouldn't change a single frame of Alien Resurrection. That's just me.
Yep. And with a couple tweaks, you could make it serious as fuck, but would you really want to? Probably not. The same thing with Aliens. You wouldn't want to make that lighthearted and fun. You want to keep that dark, gritty atmosphere. But still, with all that said, I really want to see. I'm curious to see it once. A Jason X really dark, grisly, unfunny version. But yeah, I think it's better off this way. I'm assuming.
What is the better in space film, Jason? Now think about this, Brandon. Jason X, Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun Goes to Space, Critters 4, or Hellraiser Bloodline? To me, this is a very simple answer. You want me to go? Or are you ready?
I'm ready. I've only seen bits and pieces of Leprechaun 4, so I can't speak to it. I have not seen Critters 4, so I can't speak to that. I'm not a fan of Bloodline, so I'm going to have to go with Jason X, hands down. That's my answer.
The answer is, in fact, Jason X. Bloodline is a great film. That's the film I should say. But my heart for second place has to go to Leprechaun 4. I fucking love Leprechaun 4. You want to talk about throwing shit at the wall. Insanity. Leprechaun 4 is hysterical, and anybody that's actually watched it for the masterpiece that it is, Brandon, will tell you it's a masterpiece. It's a fucking masterpiece.
I've seen the scene where the dude's head get flattened in Leprechaun 4. That's just pretty funny.
I really love Leprechaun 4. It's so beyond over the top. I love it. No, so you're not a Bloodline fan, really? You don't like that?
Not really. I don't know what it is about that movie. I've never really been a fan of it since it
Are
came
you a
out.
Hellraiser 3 guy? I feel like you're a 3 guy.
I'm a 2 guy. 2 is my masterpiece.
Okay, good. I was
3
saying,
is
I like 3.
3 is okay. 3 is fun. But even 3 3 was good because it kept in continuity with 2. You know, he had split apart, sort of like Majin Buu, from his evil self in part 2, and now it was just the evil version and the good version of his soul. That still played into the continuity a little bit better than, because once you get to part 4 and 5 and 6, like they're just Hellraiser movies. They're not really. They just don't really feel linear to me.
Yeah.
So. Plus, Bloodline just ends, dude. Like Pinhead gets defeated and like they sail towards Earth in the ship and like it's over.
Well,
very abruptly.
They always figure space is the last place.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But then that movie ended up making the most money out of all. And they're like, fuck it, I guess we'll make more.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well, Brian, you know, I you're right, but I gotta be honest with you. I'm not exactly, serious when I call Leprechaun 4 a masterpiece. But it's interesting. Look at this, like the reception for Bloodline. There are people that look at this. Let me look at 2 comments. This person says Bloodline was painful to watch, or Justin says Bloodline was painful to watch, and then Galford's dog says Bloodline had the most untapped potential, which is it's a kind of like a sideways compliment, but still, it's a compliment nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden says, Christian, do you know when the Hellraiser box set comes out? I have it pre-ordered and I don't remember. I want to say it's early October, Jaden. It's early October. What's up, Kenny? Mid-Level Media. Kenny says Bloodline 4K is going to be killer. I'm the most excited for 2. But I know that people are excited because that's the first time Bloodline's getting a real genuine upscale, Brandon, How bad does Harvey Weinstein smell on the 10 scale?
Probably pretty bad, dude. Probably like a solid 9.3, I guess. I don't know.
What scent does he have?
Probably like garbage and like old cinnamon. Maybe like a overripe banana. I don't really know. Something like that. Combination of all, you know.
Burnt ends and he smells like burnt ends and rotten mustard.
Don't kill burnt ends for me. Don't do that.
Oh man. Guys, if you have anything else to add about Jason Goes Straight to X, let us know. If not, whatever you guys want to talk about tonight, the show is yours. Take it away. Be sure to drop a like. Brandon, what is obviously, you just did your Freddy day. I wanted to say me and Sydney were watching. I was wrapping up a lot of the ones that I never saw or never finished. I thought it was awesome. All the videos
Appreciate
were great.
it.
Do you
Thank
have
you.
anything else on the horizon right now, or are you taking it easy?
I'm getting a bunch of stuff lined up for October. So in the next couple weeks, it'll probably be slim pickings. Because I have like a whole slate of stuff I recorded. I'm really trying to get a bunch of stuff stacked up for mid-October to late October. So it's probably going to be slim pickings for now on the channel. Plus, I want to let Freddy Day breathe a little bit.
Right.
Because it's there was like 23 videos that day, but they're just not getting a lot of views or traction. And that's not a complaint. It's just I want to let them breathe a little bit more, let them get out there a little bit more.
Well, yeah, you got to wonder
So.
I don't know how that would work for me either if I tried to dump a lot of videos throughout the day like that. I mean, I love the idea.
Yeah, technically for the algorithm, it would be better to do it like once a day.
Probably
you know what I mean? But there's something so novelty about doing those big, huge bursts in the day. I don't know.
It's like television. It's like a marathon.
Exactly. That's the novelty of it, I think. So,
I'm
going to try to do a Jason Day in October. That's the next thing I'm building up towards now. So
I did see on YouTube you posted like a picture of like Tabata Halloween.
Yes.
Is that a secret? Can you talk about that or?
I want to do some kind of a Tabata Halloween special. I want it to be like 30, 35 minutes. I'm not really sure what the format's going to be yet. I've kind of been like just throwing ideas around and making the logo. And I have some thoughts in my head about the intro and stuff like that. But it'll be a fun little kind of, again, I'm not really sure what the format will be yet. But it'll be a fun little spurt of hopefully an annual thing.
Right on.
But we will definitely talk about it further for sure.
Let's see what the people are saying. Thoughts on the Pet Sematary Bloodlines trailer, Brent? I thought
stoked.
You really? Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good.
I really liked the 2019 movie. I think it's rare that a remake. It's like It, 2017 and 2019's It. I love those movies. I love the original miniseries, and the same with Pet Sematary. I loved Pet Sematary 89 and Pet Sematary 2. And 2019 came out. Shannon and I saw that in theaters twice. I thought it was a fantastic movie. It was actually less accurate to the book than the 89 version was. But that's fine. I wasn't expecting a more accurate version of the book, nor was I expecting a remake of the 89 film. So I loved it. I thought it was spooky and weird and macabre in its own way. And I'm glad that this is a direct prequel to that version of the movie. I think that's awesome.
Now, when the trailer came out, spoiler if you haven't seen the remake, guys, but I mean it's been enough years. There was a lot of uproar.
Yeah,
because they revealed the different child dying.
Yeah, that should have stayed hidden. That should have stayed hidden for sure. But she was freaky in that movie, man. And like she's sitting there getting her hair combed, and like he's hitting the staples from the embalmer or from the autopsy and stuff. Like that's bizarre. And like she's talking about how she hears the woods. I'm like, there's some freaky shit in that movie. I think a lot of it's too glossed over. Like you don't really see a lot of the burial ground and stuff like that. And I think John Lithgow was not miscast. I think he did a good job, but you can't replace the original guy. But I'm not sure if he was the right choice to play the role of Judd. But it was good. Again, I'm not complaining. I just wish it
Right.
had been a little bit more meaty for that role.
I want to rewatch it again. You know, I remember being okay with it.
Mhm.
I think I actually wanted to be a little bit more humorous on my end, but
Yeah.
that was just my taste, really. But I remember being like, "Oh, this is not that bad." I remember it being pretty middle of the road when it came out in terms of reception.
Yeah. My only complaint, it's not even a complaint, it's just an observation, and I get why they probably had to do this. The new movie is about the Timmy Baterman backstory, obviously. He's like a Vietnam vet in this timeline, I think. That's the timeline. They moved it up a little bit from World War II, obviously. But in the trailer, he doesn't really look, he looked scary in the 89 film. Like he was, that sequence of Timmy Baterman is scary to me, even to this day. Like he's freaky looking. And I have a feeling I hope they don't like romanticize him in the new film and like make audiences feel bad for him, because he should be evil. He's not like some undead guy you should feel sorry for. Chicks shouldn't have crushes on him because he's romanticized. You know what I mean? Like that's my only fear about the plot,
Right.
that they're going to romanticize the character a little bit too much when they should not do that.
There you have it.
But I'm fucking stoked, dude. I'm really stoked. And I had no idea it was even coming out until like a month ago when I saw that logo drop, and I was like, holy fuck, this is coming out.
And isn't it also kind of nice that, you know, it's an at-home watch as well?
Yeah, it is. It is.
You know?
I hope it does really good too. I hope it does really, really well, because I want them to keep making more of them. I don't care how bizarre it gets, dude.
Bog Zombie says, I'm going to watch 31 classic Universal monster films for October. Do you guys got a fave?
House of Frankenstein.
Ooh. That's a classy pick. I got to go to the one that my grandma made me fall in love with. There's a part of me that loves the original Wolfman, but I got to go with Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's a good choice.
We got to meet Julie Adams at my very first horror convention. She was still alive. And my wife was so excited to meet Julie Adams. We went. It was sad because nobody was in her line, because it's an old movie and everybody's
Right.
there to meet, you know, all the 80s horror movie icons and stuff. But that was really, really cool. And that was the first Universal monster movie I remember my grandma was really made me watch. Be like, I want you to watch this film. Oh, I loved it. I've loved it ever since. I never saw those sequels though. Return of this. What do they call it?
The creature, the Return of the Creature, and the Creature Walks Among Us.
Creature Walks Among Us. I remember it looked
Dude,
like
he looks bizarre in Creature Walks Among Us. He looks fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I gotta look those out. See if I can get them on Blu-ray or something.
It's weird that he brought up the Universal monsters, because last night I finally cracked open my Blu-ray set of the Universal Studios monster movies. Has all the movies in it, and I put on Dracula, the original Lugosi one, and I love that fucking movie. I decided to start there, obviously, because it's the first one, and I always forget how, I use this phrase too much, how cozy that movie is. It's eerie, it's cozy, it's quiet, and I always forget how much of our modern Halloween culture is derived from those initial Universal monster movies, like the wolves howling outside, and like that movie is so rich with atmosphere. It blows my fucking mind to this day, dude. And it looks great on Blu-ray. It looks fantastic, dude. Much better than anything CGI today.
But people were saying that those movies look good on 4K too, because you know they've released all those on 4K now, or at least a lot of the classic ones.
Yeah, I'm pissed because my box set is just the regular Blu-rays, I believe.
Mine
Let me
too.
see. Actually, I have it out. Let me see.
Go ahead. I want to see if we got the same one. I got one that like that's different from mine.
Yeah, it is the regular. It's from the huge box set. I pulled this out last night. This has
I got the UK version.
Dracula, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein are on this disc. Let me get mine real quick. Maybe we have different boxes.
Oh, I know mine's different.
Yeah, mine's do you have this one, Christian?
No, I don't have that one. I have a UK version.
Yeah.
I don't want to dig around for mine. It's a good set though, but I like that set. That's the set I want.
Fucking stoked. They have them in 4K, huh?
Yeah, Sydney really wants that. She wants to see the original movies in 4. She's a Bride of Frankenstein person, and that's probably like my least favorite, which I know is kind of sacrilege.
I've seen it the most, and I think it's probably arguably the most well made of the bunch. But I do think I like House of Frankenstein better.
We got Blue on the Shelf. How are you with a $5 super chat? Thank you so much. He says, I'm surprised Halloween or Nightmare didn't try to go to space. I think Freddy in space would be a hell of a watch. I mean, yeah. I mean, with Freddy, it's just like they could have just done that in the dream world anyway. You know.
Yeah.
With Michael, I think that was actually John Carpenter's idea. He wanted to do, and then that got axed. He wanted to do that with New Line. I read that book Dustin McNeil made. It was called Taking Shape 2, the non-making of the unmade Halloween sequels.
Mhm.
And that was what John Carpenter wanted to do with New Line when they fought for the right to get a Halloween, and Miramax outbid them. So Miramax teamed up with Mustafa because he didn't make a film quick enough in time. So like when he buys the rights to these movies or the rights, there's a time limit on them. I didn't know that. So by the time Halloween 5 came out, he had to get a film out soon, and he didn't get it out in time. So that's why like the contract pretty much lapsed, and Halloween was up for the grabs at that point. That's why there was the bidding war, right?
Yeah.
So Johnny wanted to make a space Michael Myers film with New Line Cinema. And you may be saying to yourself, that doesn't sound right, but you got to look at John's career in the 90s. He failed again with Universal in the beginning when he did Memoirs of an Invisible Man and Village of the Damned and stuff. All that stuff didn't do good. Now it's all got cult followings now. We all love him. But he was trying to make money in the 90s. And then, so I don't want to go into a big whole diatribe, but it almost happened, Blue on the Shelf. It almost happened. Thank you so much for that super chat. God bless you. Let's give him a little clip. Give him a quick one, Brandon. Let's see. Let me give him the Burn Burgers. That's a classic.
Do it.
All right, here we go.
For me, I want hockey pucks. It's got to be. I want my burgers on the grill.
Burned. I want them done. Crispy black burned. No. Yeah, that's not real life. Hold on, man.
You said I want a hockey puck on the grill.
Yeah. You are a nasty. So the ones that nobody wants and on the plate at a cookout, you're the one getting all those. Yeah, if I'm on the grill, the burgers are going to be fucking crispy. Really black. I do like, what's the guy?
Classic. Dude, speaking of outer space horror movies, why do you think there's a stigma about franchises going to space, and it's always a negative thing? Like, when did that start? Because Jason X is a hokey inside joke of a film, and we love it. But like Leprechaun 4, Hellraiser 4, like where did it start and where did it go wrong that people automatically assume if it goes to space, it's going there to die? Like, where the hell did that mindset come from? Was it Moonraker? Was it James Bond? Like, where did that come from? Like, why do we associate space as a negative attribute to these franchises?
Great question.
Isn't that bizarre? Like, why? Why does that automatically equal lesser quality because it's in space? Like, we don't do that with the Alien franchise. Now, obviously, that should be in space because they're aliens, but like, why can't Michael Myers go to space without it seeming automatically hokey and terrible? Like,
That's
at some point, there wasn't a stigma.
Article we can kind of breeze. Oh, I agree. Let me get this real quick. Thank you so much. Salem Station Podcast for $2 super chat. Howdy. When's the next You Need a Debrief? Much love. There probably, if not this week, Salem, it'll be next week. I'll talk to Nick tomorrow and see when we can. Maybe we'll do one this week. If we do, we'll let you know. I'll make sure he posts the thing instantly. So stay tuned. You'll know very, very soon. Thank you so much, Salem. Brandon, let's see. 13 horror movies that went to space. Let me see if they give any kind of context to this. I'm trying to. Here's the thing with Alien. Like, the question is, had the stigma been there yet? Probably not, right?
Yeah, and it's almost reverse for Alien because when you say, let's bring Alien to Earth, that seems hokey to me, and I don't want to see it, you know? These people are hating on Life Force. Come on.
I hope not. That's a masterpiece.
That's how I feel in the morning.
That is a masterpiece in its own right. Critters 4, Event Horizon. That's a great movie.
That's a Hellraiser movie. for sure.
It really is. Jason X. Brandon, I'm telling you, Leprechaun in Space is amazing. Pitch Black.
I've never seen Pitch Black. I've never seen it. None
It's
of the
good.
Riddick movies. Yeah, none of them.
I can't tell you much about the Chronicles of Riddick or anything. I just know that I got Pitch Black when it came out on 4K a few years ago, and I really liked it. Keith David's
I've heard
in it.
Moon was a fucked up movie, but I haven't seen it.
Let's read about Moon. What is a stranger place to find yourself than on the moon? Sam Bell partakes in a 3-year stint where he is tasked to mine resources in the dark side of the moon, which allows the question to be answered. One might think this film is more on the side of generic science fiction, which would have been just as fine for fans of the genre. However, we do not think people were expecting what they actually got, and that was a good thing. Moon takes on the form of a psychological drama horror when Sam begins to experience strange delusions during his solitude, and the viewers are taken along the wild ride of his mind. Moon tackles a few important topics from beginning to end, so it's a must-watch. Yeah, it does sound good.
Yeah, and Rockwell is very underrated too. He's a great actor.
Ghosts of Mars.
I haven't seen that either. Never. Dracula
3000.
Jesus Christ.
Is that good, Brandon? I don't remember.
I've never seen
Dracula 2000.
I've never seen 3000. I'm assuming it can't be good. Look at his face.
I don't know. It's number 1. Maybe it's not like a worst to best though.
Good stuff, man.
Oh, Moon was directed by David Bowie's son.
Wow.
Oh, people are saying this movie's good, dude.
I've heard things about that movie.
Moon is amazing. Dude, I got to see this. Thank you, Jason. This is a super fun stream. I appreciate that.
We try.
Alien 1979 is just a big budget remake of Terror from Beyond Space, just like Aliens is a remake of them. You know. Dracula 3000 is a masterpiece. Brandon, what is the best space horror movie? I mean, it's got to be Alien, right?
It's Aliens for me.
Aliens?
For
Are you an Aliens guy over Alien?
Yes.
Have you always been that way? Did
Absolutely.
you come around to...
I've always loved Alien, but I just, as a kid, I always gravitated towards Aliens over Alien. I always appreciated the slow crawl of the first movie. It was never a problem when I was a kid. A lot of my friends were like, "Oh, that movie's boring," but I always loved it. It's just Aliens has something that Alien doesn't. It's faster paced. The action's better. I think it's scarier than Alien in a lot of ways. Obviously, they don't look as scary as the Alien in Part 1 does as they do in Aliens, but there's just something about Aliens, man. I love it. The complex is terrifying. The cast is fantastic. The score is incredible. It has Bishop. Everything about Aliens is just the encapsulation of what a perfect sequel is. And I think it's better than T2 as far as sequels go, especially in James Cameron's filmography. Yeah, like if it came down to T2 versus Aliens, I'm an Aliens guy over T2. And it pains me to say that a little bit because Schwarzenegger's my guy, but like Aliens is just it. You know what I mean? It's just it. And it's also grim and it's unforgiving. And it's just it's a fucking space opera masterpiece as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Galford Stoke says Aliens is not a horror film.
Sure it is. I disagree.
It's sci-fi action, says Kevin.
You could say it's sci-fi action horror, but it's still sci-fi horror, just as the first movie is sci-fi horror. And if we were technically being technical, if you had one category to put the Aliens franchise in, it would technically belong to science fiction, not horror. So if we want to get really technical about it, then we're all wrong. But I will say that they're all sci-fi horror. Just like Terminator 2 is still technically could be considered sci-fi action horror, just like the first one. It's just way more action-oriented than the first one. Would you agree? Because there's still a lot of horror elements in T2 that people forget about. A lot.
I do agree with you. I'm sorry. Big K says, I float in space and release my seed while defecating. I reach the ship but slam into the side. I turn and see my fate. I'm then covered in my shame. What the fuck is that?
The lack of punctuation makes it so much better too.
Oh, I need somebody to screenshot that. What the fuck? Oh, Jesus. Thank you so much, Big K. Sorry to hear about that.
I got a question for you. So would you agree that Alien 1 and 2 are horror? They're a mixture of other genres, but they're still horror movies, right? You would say.
Put it to you like this. Both of those movies scared the ever-living shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah. Okay, good. So with that said, would you consider Alien 3 horror, and would you consider Alien Resurrection horror still in the same way? Because I would, but I feel like Alien 3 is...
It's such a slippery slope, not for the individual, but for... Not for yourself as an individual, but like you'll never get a clear decision in terms of a broad demographic on how, like, look at the people in the chat, like how many disagreements have we had so far about this?
A lot.
It's back and forth, and I get it. It's totally. It goes back.
Yeah.
It goes back to Silence of the Lambs for me. People will tell me that Silence of the Lambs is not a horror film, and that's how they feel, and I 1000% respect that.
They say it's
for
a thriller,
me,
it's a suspense movie. I get you.
For me,
yeah.
I think of what the definition of a horror film is. It's, something to evoke a dark emotions, what I've read as the definition of horror. A theater or something theater to evoke a dark emotion, blah, blah, blah. I'll put it to you like this. When people say, well, they don't think Silence of the Lambs is a horror film, well, it's one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my entire life. It's not, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
So I felt the same. I would feel the same way about Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
I just think you look at James Cameron is the master of mixing or blending genre. And I feel like you could say, well, it's got to deny that there's horror elements in Aliens would be to lie. But if you want to say that, well, that's not what the movie is in an overall theme. It's an action film. Okay, so then you take whichever. I think when you look at Aliens, however you perceive that film to be the most, whether you see it as there's a dominant genre in there to somebody. If somebody sees the dominant genre of it's an action film, well, they're not going to say it's a horror film. Now, me, when I was a kid, it scared the ever-loving shit out of me. I'll never forget when the alien comes out of the water in front of the girl, behind the girl. I did what Big K Movies and Games did. I defecated my. Did that break Shanna? Is she laughing?
She coughed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought she was laughing. But so that's how I perceive Aliens. But if somebody watches Aliens and they really see it as an action, that's what it is. So I just think it's really subjective for a lot of people with movies like this, especially the genre bending films.
Yeah, not to keep on Alien, but for me, part 1 and 2 would be sci-fi horror for the most part. Obviously, action more in part 2, but part 3 would be a good example of psychological drama horror. Or part 4, Resurrection, would be totally. That's like an adventure film with horror undertones. You know what I mean? Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah. It's multifaceted for sure. And regardless of this, I always feel like there are movies or franchises that horror fans adopt as their own. There are movies that, let's say, for instance, I don't know, fucking, but there are movies that horror fans adopt and they claim it as one of their own. That doesn't mean it's necessarily a full-fledged horror film by perception, but I'm trying to think of examples. I can think of them all the time, but right now I literally can't think of
we said
Garbage
Scrooge.
Pail Kids the movie. Scrooged. It's a horror fans
Beetlejuice.
love
Well, I
that
guess
movie.
Beetlejuice is horror, but
the thing is, how many people would say that Beetlejuice is just like a movie? It's not like a horror film.
Right.
That's my point. But like horror fans adopt that movie.
Yeah.
1000%. They claim it
Yeah.
as their own.
Right.
And there's an essence to horror films too that maybe you don't feel it in films like Aliens or something, but I don't know. It's hard. Like I said, dude, this is there's so many shades of gray with this.
There is. But you know what would have been a fucking great space horror movie? A Gremlins movie in space would have been fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Dude.
No gravity gremlins just floating around.
Yeah. Or maybe even Space Ghoulies. That should be Band's next film is Space Ghoulies. There we go.
Yeah, I got news for you. He ain't got the right to them things anymore.
I thought he does because like a couple years ago he said we should make one of those this year. Does he not have the rights to Ghoulies?
No, not at all.
Damn. Who has the rights?
MGM.
Oh. Oof.
That was under the Empire umbrella, and when he sold all of his licenses, he kept a few things in his deal, like Trancers. If you'll notice, Trancers 2, 3, 4, 5, that's all Full Moon, but the first one was Empire.
Right.
And he kept he retained the rights to Robot Jocks. Not the movie, but the sequel rights. So Robot Wars was, I'm sorry, I get too nerdy with Charles Band. I'm sorry. I'm just a big fan.
That's right. No, you're good. So does that mean that was Ghoulies 4 MGM also?
I don't know. I know that's a Wynorski film. It had nothing to do with Charlie Band, though.
Oh, okay. That's true. That's true.
Came out in 94.
Because that movie uses clips from Ghoulies 1. That's what I'm asking, because that's a bizarre rights issue to me. Like, how the fuck did they even get the right to use clips from Ghoulies 1? I guess it was like 94. Everybody was on cocaine back then. But that sucks. Yeah, we're never getting another Ghoulies movie then if MGM has the rights to that shit. Like, who's gonna come along and be like, let's make a Ghoulies movie?
Well, I don't know, man. Like, there's a Ghoulies blanket at Spirit Halloween.
I'm looking for it. I haven't seen it yet.
And then you get online, but
if I was rich, I would buy the rights to Ghoulies and make a fucking Ghoulies in space. Space Ghoulies.
Echo Bridge Home Entertainment was Ghoulies 4. Was made by Cinetel Films Inc., an independent film production company distributed basis. So, dude, that means Ghoulies 4 is probably absorbed or either just lost in legal limbo. Like somebody, like they may be under a defunct company that no longer operates, but somebody still like kind of just has the rights to it. You know,
Vinegar Syndrome needs to get that shit.
Yeah.
Ghoulies
Well,
4.
I'll tell you what, man. MVD, the Ghoulies 4K. If people haven't seen my review on that, please go check it out. The Ghoulies 4K is the best 4K I've seen this year, hands down.
And you said it looks way better than that trilogy we have, right? It looks better than that?
Dude, remarkably better.
Really?
Dude, when I say Ghoulies 4 was the best, Ghoulies 1 is the best looking 4K this year. To me, it's not even close.
Okay.
It really is incredible. That's at Best. Dude, it's at Best Buy. And here's the crazy thing. People were telling me, like, yo, Christian, like the 4K is like 33 online, but it's $23 at Best Buy. And I'm like, well, go get it at Best Buy, guys. Like, it's incredible. And it comes with a poster. It's got new special features. They imported the Scream Factory documentary on Ghoulies. It's incredible. Charlie Band talks all about it. It looks insane, dude.
I watched your video on Ghoulies 2 as well. How did that one, because I know that's not 4K, how did that one compare to the presentation on the trilogy? Did it look better than that too, even the standard?
No, pretty similar. Really? Pretty similar. Okay. You know, pretty similar, but it's got new features as well, like I said, as porting over all the... I don't remember if the Spanish trilogy we have even had special features on there. I don't remember.
I've still yet to pop them in and actually watch the whole thing, so I can't even speak towards it. But
I don't.
What I saw looked pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think it did. I think it just was the movie. But that's still a cool thing to own for people because it's got Ghoulies 3, and Ghoulies 3 looks pretty good. Damn it, what was I going to say, Brandon? But no, the Ghoulies 2 Blu-ray from MVD. Now, Ghoulies 2 is going to get a 4K. They either couldn't have it done in time, and they legally had to get this release out, or they just couldn't. They're going to do a 4K at Ghoulies 2. And, you know, I don't hide it. I got a review copy for Ghoulies 2, and I'm very proud to, you know, promote that title. And I saw a lot of people grab Ghoulies 2. And the cool thing is they actually released Ghoulies 1 on Blu-ray as well, remastered. But anyway, like the Ghoulies 2 Blu-ray from MVD is good, but it's a great release because they give you, again, all these special features from the Scream Factory disc as well as new interviews with the writer. So it's a win-win to get the Blu-ray if you don't want to wait. But we don't know when the 4K is coming for Ghoulies 2 yet either. That's still a mystery. But thank you, Mike Mack, with a $20 super chat. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Just wanted to show some love to this show and both of your channels. Keep rocking, boys. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate that.
The man.
Jacob, what's up, guys? Just about to drive home from work and listen to this gold. Hell yeah. Brandon, I'm gonna, after the show is over, I gotta clean the kitchen because it's a fucking wreck and Sydney left that for me to clean. But I'm gonna go ahead and secure my copy of the Exorcist 4K Steelbook, which I know you love, to go grab in the morning from Best Buy. Do you have any interest in that, or you strike me as the kind of guy that likes Exorcist 3 more?
I think I like Exorcist 3 more as far as like just putting it on and watching it. I think it's a fantastic film.
It's amazing.
But Exorcist 1 is so goddamn frightening to me. Like, that's probably the #1 most frightening movie to me besides like Chainsaw Massacre to this day. Like, something in The Exorcist is horrifying to me. But that movie is a hard watch. It's hard to watch The Exorcist. It's long, it's dull in places, and it's just a heavy film.
Well, you don't like the director's cut. You like the regular cut.
I like both, but yeah, I think the regular's better. I mean, am I wrong? The director's cut is bloated, I think, for sure.
Blatty wanted to add those scenes in, and Friedkin had a great friendship with Blatty. Obviously, they made history together, so he did that out of respect to Blatty.
Yeah.
But he's gone on record saying he did not like adding those scenes in. And that kind of became the standard version of that film in the 90s when they added those scenes in.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you, Brandon. When you say you think one is scarier, I don't disagree because it's clearly being scared is subjective. But for me, Exorcist 3 is far and away more scary than Exorcist.
Well, there's that one, if you want to call, I hate calling it a jump scare because that makes it sound cheap. It's not cheap. That one scene in that movie in Legion, you know what I'm talking about, where the nurse is walking in behind her. That scene is so relentlessly frightening. It like scares you to the bone of your being. Like, it's so, I can't even explain why it's so scary.
I think I can.
It's out of nowhere. It's out of place.
You say calling it a jump scare is demeaning to it. Well, you're not wrong. It's 1000% jump scare. This is why I think it's so brilliant. That movie presents itself in a fashion from every rhythm and beat that, hey, we are not playing any tricks with you. We are going to scare you psychologically with this film. You're going to melt into your chair and you're going to not want to move. You're going to, I mean that in like a, not a, I want to kill myself way, but legitimately, we're going to slowly, methodically put you in a place mentally that you are not going to feel safe whatsoever. So it presents itself in a way that's no. We are so above jump scares. Don't even think we're going to go there. They present that movie in such a way that when they do that jump scare, you're beyond not expecting it. You know it's not going to happen because this movie's clearly above cheap crap like that. So when it happens, holy fuck! The first time I saw it, dude, oh my god! Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was.
I get really annoyed when I see people criticize George C. Scott. To me, that's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's fantastic in that movie.
You want to know what scares me the most in that film? I've talked about this on Unita, but I'll talk about it here. I mean this. I don't know when the last time you've seen the movie is, Exorcist 3.
It's been a couple years.
Okay, well, there's a scene this is what truly scares me the most out of Exorcist 3. It's not when he goes into the room with Dorff and he's talking to him. You look at George C. Scott, that's a man's man, right? That's a guy that handles business, right? He takes care of his family. He's running this police jurisdiction. He's in charge of everything. He's in charge of keeping the town safe. He's in charge of, all this stuff. And he comes across as just like an alpha motherfucker. And I love George C. Scott. There's a scene in the movie where after his friend that was the preacher dies, he's in this back room at the hospital with 3 other people, and they're all freaking out, yelling, and he's trying to talk to him about the Gemini killer, and he's trying to explain to him that we lied to the papers to put out false information to get rid of the wackos, right? And there's a moment where they're all fighting, and he yells, he's like, "Shut up, stop!" And for a few seconds, George C. Scott is breaking down, crying, and he's like, "Please give me," he does like a gesture, like, "Give me a second." And to see that kind of guy, this alpha dude who has to deal with all to see him break down and be like, "I'm fucking terrified." That scares me more than anything, because to me, that says, if this guy is afraid of what's about to happen or what's going on, I don't stand a fucking chance. And so that moment in that film, if you watch it again, Brandon, look out for it. It terrifies me to my core, because you believe in his performance so much that when he loses hope for a few seconds and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm scared." Oh, I got goosebumps right now thinking about it. It's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen.
Yeah.
To me, I love The Exorcist, but I will die on my sword. Exorcist 3 is William Peter Blatty's true masterpiece, aka Legion, or Legion is his true master. That's how I feel.
Do you think it's so scary because he's the type of person in real life that, like, when the shit hits the fan, you're supposed to be able to turn to them to be clear-headed and know what to do to save the day, and when they break down, nobody knows what's going on. It's like if the world ends and they're breaking down, there's no parent to turn to who will get you out of this. Like, it's just, that's it.
Yeah, and he catches himself too, but just when he has those moments, I freak out. I freak out.
That's good stuff.
But
Legion 3 is fantastic.
Something about Exorcist 3. I mean, the first time I watched the film was on LaserDisc in like 2013 or 14. I just got the movie on LaserDisc. I was trying to find The Exorcist on LaserDisc, right? And there were some nice releases, but they were pretty expensive. So I was like, "What is this? Exorcist 3? Okay, I don't own 2, but I guess I'll get 3." And I just watched it. And then I might have Googled beforehand, like, "Oh, no, you don't need to see the sequels. This has nothing to do with 2." And I fell in love with it. I mean, man, I watched it in the perfect setting. It was like 1 a.m., lights completely off, and oh my God, it stuck with me the way the Silence of the Lambs did. I think that movie is as good as Silence of the Lambs, which I know is kind of crazy to say, but when I say I love Exorcist 3, Brandon, it's funny because, like, especially on Unita, I love to fuck around and I love to be silly and I love to troll. I'm not trolling. I swear to God, Exorcist 3 is the greatest.
How soon do they introduce Karras in that movie? Like, how soon do you see him on screen?
Father Karras?
Yeah.
Pretty soon, because in the opening of the film, they go to the movie theater.
Right. Okay. So do you think that would have been
life?
Would that movie have blown people's minds if they had saved him for like the very end of the third act and you didn't know it was an Exorcist movie until that point in time? Or you think it was better the way it is?
If Blatty wrote it, it would have been great. How about that? I mean, like, truly, that's how I feel, because that dude knew what he was doing. You could probably recut that film and make it look like that, to be honest with you.
Because that would be fucking sweet. Obviously, it probably wouldn't help the story at all. I'm just saying that would have been cool as fuck if it came out of nowhere. Like, we have this guy who blah, 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 blah.
And it's funny. I remember on my review for the 4K of Exorcist 3, I got comments of people saying, "I never saw this because I hated 2." And I'm just like, "Oh, please don't do this to yourself."
I really want to watch 2 again and see if I dislike it as much as I used to.
I don't think it's a horrible. As a matter of fact, Scorsese loves it. It's a Scorsese style film. It's very slow, kind of like moving in the sense of it's a narrative that it's continually moving the way he kind of does. Do I think it's horrible? Not necessarily, but that movie was not right for audiences at all.
Yeah.
Remotely during that time, I don't think. It's got a fan base though, Brandon. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'll put it to you like that. If you want me to watch it, I'll watch it. But believe me, I'd much rather watch 1, 3, or quite frankly, the remake or whatever those movies were, the
Dominion,
Dominion
beginning. Yeah.
I'd probably rather watch those because at least those, things happen in those.
Yeah.
but it's got a fan base. But then again, everything kind of does nowadays.
Little
You
cult
know.
followings here and there. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Let's see.
Now I want a smash burger and I want to watch Jason X.
The only issue with Exorcist 3 is the extra scene at the end is unnecessary as the movie loses its cadence as a psychological murder mystery. It is a little over the top, Marco, but it's a beautiful. I agree. I can agree with you, Marco, but I think visually it is a work of art to look at. You know,
It's
when
also sort of the punchline of the film. Like they couldn't not have that really.
like when that floor opens up, man. What a visual. No, Justin, the first time I saw Exorcist 3 was in 2013 when I got a LaserDisc, which I still have to listen. The first time I saw The Exorcist bits and pieces throughout my life as a kid. Brandon, it's funny. You want to know what I was talking about? There was a TV spot I'll never forget for The Exorcist during Halloween time in the 90s when I was a kid.
When it came back to theaters?
It was either theaters or TV. I just remember I could probably find it, but I don't want to play it because we're doing good on not losing my monetization on this video.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but there are some times where, like, you know, the episode where we just watched a bunch of commercials was really fun, which we'll do another one of those. But I was gonna say, all this thing was, Brandon, was a voice talking, like a deep voice talking. You could hear tubular bells, and it was just a camera panning towards the bedroom door. That was it. The door didn't open; it just creeps towards. And it scared the shit out of me. Now, they don't make stuff like this anymore, where they literally don't show anything
right
in a trailer.
Yeah. Bastards.
Now they give you everything in the goddamn trailer. Everything.
Too much, man. Too much.
You know. Oh, my favorite Exorcist movie is Repossessed. Oh, with Linda Blair and Leslie... what's his name?
Leslie Nielsen?
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah. I don't remember that movie at all. I really need to see that movie too.
Oh, it's that movie has to get a Vestron Video Blu-ray. It has to. I think it's under the Lionsgate umbrella. I do. Repossessed. Nice. You know. Did Peter Jackson rip off The Exorcist 3 when he did The Frighteners? I don't.
That's a hard no from me, but
is that a horror film?
Yes, I would say so. It's along the lines of Beetlejuice to me. It's like that fantastical kind of horror.
I definitely call it a movie that the horror fans adopt as their own, for sure. I think if you ask a lot of horror fans if they like that movie, oh, fuck yeah. I remember liking the poster for that. It was very, very simple. You just see the outline of that demon face on white. Remember?
That movie's so damn good.
It really is. It was ahead of its time. And I actually challenge people to go back and watch The Frighteners. You'll notice the demon coming through the wallpaper in the bathroom in 1996 looks better than Freddy in 2010.
It does,
I swear
dude.
to God. I swear to God.
It does.
Explain it.
Fucking
what sense does that make?
It makes no sense. That's what I'm saying, man. Like going back to Dracula, I'm looking at all those optical effects and those miniatures and those matte paintings. I'm like, this still looks better than the CGI crap from 10 years ago. You know, it's just
you can smell it as soon as you see it. And it's like something that's in camera. At least it's in camera. You know what I mean?
Charms you. Yeah.
You know. Brandon, is Frighteners the best movie of horror film? If we're gonna call Frighteners a horror film for the audience, even if you don't agree, play along. Is The Frighteners the best horror film of 1996?
96.
Which basically I'm asking people, do you like it more than Scream?
Scream.
Which you know is what I'm asking.
Scream is the better horror movie, but there's something really endearing about Frighteners, man.
How do you
I can't
go
say
against
it's
Michael
better
J.
than Scream.
Fox?
I can't say it's better than Scream, but it's really fucking good. I think it's the most underrated horror movie
of
the 90s. You know?
Oh, the 90s.
I think so, because that movie, people forget how much of that movie just came and went in 96. You know, I don't think it really did that well.
Well,
I don't think people were ready for it.
Do you think Michael Fox's star had waned by that point?
Maybe a little bit. which kind of sucks because he did such a good job in that movie. And like he still has all his motor functions and stuff. So he was really good on screen. It's a shame it didn't do better than it did. It really is, because that movie deserved to do better.
Oh, wow.
Disagree, but it's up there. Dusk Till Dawn is fantastic. I just think Dusk Till Dawn is infinitely more interesting before they get to the bar. I feel like that should have been the sequel, the surprise sequel or something. I don't know. Didn't Tremors 2 come out in 96? Or am I crazy?
Tremors 2 was like 93.
Was it?
No, you're right. It was 96.
Actually, screw that. You know what the best horror film of 96 was? Trilogy of Terror 2. Next to Scream.
I thought that was 94.
Trilogy of Terror 2? No, it was 96.
Okay.
I watched it on cable TV the night it came on, dude.
I have the Blu-ray hat.
Yeah, so do I.
Our movies of 1996. We got to do a show called like the Frozen Pizza and Horror Movies of 1996 show.
The 666s of 96. I love it.
Oh, Brandon, let's go through
toppings.
Let's go through 96, Brandon. All right, Brandon and the chat. This is going to be a fun way to kind of the last chapter of this show.
All right.
Brandon, out of 5 stars, I'm going to name these horror films from 1996. You've got to, and I'll take time to read the chat as well. I'm going to name these movies from 96. You give me a 5 out of 5 stars rating.
Okay. All right.
The first movie of 96 I want to bring up is Scream.
5.
Do you really feel, because I feel like you're not the biggest Scream fan.
I like Scream 2. Well, no, I like Scream. I used to be a Scream 2 fan better than Scream 1, but now I'm really like, every time I see Scream 1, that cozy nostalgia, old school horror movie feeling gets more and more intense for me as an old and folded old man. So it really is just a 5 on every level. I just wish it was a longer film.
All right, Brandon, the chat is spoken. I'm seeing 4s, 4.5s, and 5s for Scream. Somebody's got to go 3 or 2. Like, not everybody can love Scream, Brandon. Don't you think there's something
I know a lot
wrong
of
with
people
that?
who don't like that movie at all. I know a lot of people who fucking hate Scream and everything it stands for. So,
Well, Brandon, if Scream hadn't happened, and then we'll move on because I really want to do this. If Scream hadn't happened, where do you think horror would have went? There would have been something else that would have shifted the tide, right?
it would have been weird because the Scream era, if you will, was only felt for a few years. The only thing now that's still relevant to the Scream era are the Scream movies, right? Because let's see,
You're
Urban
right.
Legend,
you're right.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. What's another good example of that era? I Know What You Did Last Summer 2.
Cherry Falls.
All that shit like probably wouldn't have happened, at least in that way. Halloween H2O wouldn't have happened in that way. But that was only a few years and it fizzled out anyway. So I think it would have been replaced by something else temporary. But I do kind of wish that vibe would come back besides the Scream movies. Like if they do remake, I'm getting off on a tangent here.
Go ahead.
If they do requel, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I want it to have that Scream vibe of the first film. That like mysterious whodunit, spooky atmosphere. I can't explain what the fuck it is even. It's that screamish atmosphere. End rant.
There you go.
What the hell was that?
All right, let's see. There we go, Brandon. You ready?
Ready.
The next movie. Chat. The next movie is 1996's, obviously. Bad Moon.
Haven't seen it.
I'm gonna give Bad Moon a solid 4 stars.
Wow.
Brandon, that is one of the best practical effects werewolf movies you'll ever see.
I've seen the scenes of the wolf, and the wolves do look at their wolf. I don't know if there's one or two, but the wolf I've seen in the scene looks really fucking cool. Are there more than one?
I think there's only one Bad Moon. I got to give Bad Moon 4 stars. I mean, it's that the reason it's not 5 stars is because the movie and the story is good. Nothing you haven't seen before. It's just good. But the wolf effects, literally, the fact that it wasn't CGI is remarkable because it was really starting to become a thing. But I think CGI was actually probably really expensive back then. So, dude, I'm telling you, you would love this movie.
I need to see it.
It is great.
Those are the werewolves that have the super long, pointy ears, right? Because that looks become sort of iconic, I think, from Bad Moon.
I don't know necessarily, but let's move on. Let me see. Well, let me see what the chat's saying. 4s, 3.5s, 3s. Haven't seen it. A lot of haven't seen it. All right, Brandon. We'll skip Leprechaun 4 because you said you haven't seen Leprechaun 4 in its entirety. The Frighteners is actually next on this list.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a 5 for Frighteners. It's right up there with Scream for sure. Absolutely, unapologetically.
So you think it's as good to you? It's as good as a movie, but you give Scream the edge in terms of.
I think it's. I think Scream's an easier watch than Frighteners. You can kind of put on Scream anytime for some popcorn fun. I think Frighteners has a tendency to kind of be, depending on your mood, it's kind of depressing sometimes. It's sort of a heavy movie. Like there's a lot of morbid shit in that movie.
Dealing with life and death for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're getting a lot of Brandon. The consensus for the Frighteners is 4 stars. We're getting 4.5s.
It's respectable.
The next movie from 1996 is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Solid 3.5 for me on that one. Because again, everything leading up to the bar sequence is great, but everything leading up to it was so much more interesting for me.
Really?
Just seeing the Gecko brothers do their thing, it was so much more intense. Once they got to the bar, it was still good, but like it just, I don't want to take anything away from it. It's a great original vampire flick, but something about the bar scenes, I think, took away from what could have been with the Gecko brothers. But
I'd go just a little bit higher than you. I'd go 4 stars. I think Savini steals the show.
He does.
And he's great. And Black Caesar, Fred Williams is in that movie, right?
Yes.
Fred Williams is great. That's the original Expendables of horror in that movie to me. I'd go 4 stars on From Dusk Till Dawn. The next movie is The Craft.
Damn, that's a good movie. Fuck. I'm going with 5 stars for The Craft, dude.
You don't strike me as a Craft guy.
The Craft is hellaciously good. Or salaciously good, whatever the phrase would be for that.
Do you have a favorite member, as it were?
It's the favorite member has got to be the Dorothy from Return to Oz. What's her name? Feruza Balk. What's her name in the movie?
I don't remember.
What's her name in the movie?
Vicky Valancourt.
She's the best character for sure. Absolutely.
She's a star of the film for sure.
Yeah.
But I actually prefer Nev in this film more than her as Sidney Prescott. I'm not a Sidney Prescott fan.
Yeah.
People get mad when I call her no personality Nev.
The Craft has a really good atmosphere to it. That sort of
Nancy's what people are saying.
Nancy.
You go 5 stars though for The Craft. That's a high rating.
I think it moves. The pace is great. The cinematography is great. The soundtrack kicks fucking ass. Both the score and the contemporary soundtrack. The acting is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a really moody film. I think it gets wrongfully labeled as sort of a chick flick horror movie when it's not really. It's not even really a horror movie per se, but it is. But it isn't. You know.
I feel like
it's almost gothic horror. To an extent, I can't even explain why that is. It just feels.
No, I totally agree. I'm trying to imagine the person who's like a fan of The Craft in 1986. They're probably they've probably got dyed black hair. They're wearing those goth pants you'd get from Hot Topic.
The 2004 Hot Topic goth kids are what the 96 Craft fans should have been. I think if that makes any sense. Like it took that long. It took that long for them to percolate. So.
Absolutely.
The Craft is excellent, dude.
So you gave it 5 stars. I'm gonna go 4 stars on The Craft.
That's commendable.
Next up is Hellraiser Bloodline.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
That's next on the list.
That's a 2 for me.
2 for Hell. Can you give a reason?
I just think it's convoluted. I think it's rushed. I think the non-space stuff was far more interesting than the space stuff. I really wanted to see a prequel built all around that predates Doug Bradley's Pinhead and that whole faction of Hell. I wanted to see the medieval version of Hell because in the comics and stuff, there's a lot of expanded mythology about there being different eras and factions that rule over hell
Right.
and stuff like that. That would have been cool to see. We don't really explore that beyond what's her name? What is her name? Angelica,
I don't. It's been
the
a
daughter
while
of
since then.
Leviathan. They don't really show us anything in the labyrinth going on. At
Oh,
the same time.
Brandon, we got a low star rating for this.
Yeah.
We got 0s, 3s, 1s, and 2s. So I guess we're gonna go with a 2.5 stars for Bloodlines. I'm not comfortable giving a rating for it at this time.
Mm.
I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it again. The next movie is Uncle Sam.
Ooh.
5 out of 5 VHS cover.
Yeah. Uncle Sam was good. I'm gonna go with a. Fuck. Uncle Sam. I'm gonna go with a 3.
Yeah,
3
me
is
too.
respectable, I think.
It's exactly.
It's
what I
not
was
like
thinking.
it's not like a masterpiece, but it's fun. You know, it's fun.
Chat, what say you on Uncle Sam? Brandon, they put a 4K out of Uncle Sam.
I know. I should have bought it. I didn't buy it. Did you buy it?
Yes, I did.
It can't look good. There's no way it looks good.
It was shot on film, dude. It looks really good.
Wow.
You know, I want to say that was that Bill Lustig that directed that?
I think so.
Let me see. I now I'm just got to know.
Hell yeah. So who here in the chat has seen Shock 'Em Dead? Because when I've loved that movie as a kid on VHS, and when I bought the DVD of that movie a couple years ago, it looked straight up like a VHS rip. And when I bought the Blu-ray version of Shock 'Em Dead, it looked like the same VHS rip put on the Blu-ray. So like there was no enhancement of video quality there at all. Right, Christian? Exactly.
Well, I don't know. What was Shock 'Em Dead filmed on?
That was totally video.
Well, that's yeah. You know, there's Visual Vengeance is putting stuff up. Brandon, there's a movie called The Abomination. Have you seen that? It's the goriest movie I've ever seen.
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, you got to see this. It's insane. Anyway, let's move on. The next movie is Amityville Dollhouse.
Wow.
I love this movie. I really do.
I can't say that I've seen that movie the whole way through.
It's creepy as fuck, dude.
I can't. I'm not comfortable giving a number because I'm not really sure if I've seen the whole thing or even seen the thing at all.
There's a scene in Amityville Dollhouse where the dad, spoiler alert, but the dad, who's a dead soldier, appears in the boy's bedroom and they make him look dead and his eyes are just glazed over yellow, but you could see a little bit of his irises and it's terrifying. The dad looks so creepy. Let me show you a picture of him. Dude, it really fucked with me the first time I saw it. I hate looking up images of it. Oh, it fucks me up. It really does fuck me up, dude. Amityville Dollhouse is great.
That's your favorite one, right?
Besides Amityville 2, Possession. All right, Brandon, look at the dad. Look at those eyes.
Oh, he does look pretty freaky.
I'm telling you, dude, it's fucking terrifying. And then he turns it. Look at the top right, left pictures, Brandon. He basically turns into Big Ben from House.
He's freaky looking, man.
I'm telling you, please watch this movie. If you guys haven't seen Amityville Dollhouse.
Yeah, I don't recognize this, so I don't think I've seen it.
The people are talking about It's About Time. That's a great one too, but you guys are killing me. Like Dollhouse is great. Y'all are critics. Y'all are killing me in the comments. I'm just kidding. All right, Brandon, let's move on. I'm gonna go. I'll give Dollhouse. I'm gonna give Dollhouse a 3.5 stars.
Wow.
Next up is Children of the Corn 4: The Gathering from 1996.
The best Children of the Corn movie.
No. Hold on. Out of all of them,
better than 3.
What about
slightly
2 or
better
1?
than 3? I don't remember. I don't like part 1 really. I think it's a slog, and I haven't seen part 2 in a long time, so I can't comment on it.
Well, Brandon, in part 3, they grow corn between 2 Chicago high-rise buildings and a patch of dirt that's in an alleyway.
I respect that they're doing that. I respect the farmer's technique. I respect the demonic toys kid being in that movie. But part 4 is fantastic. Has Karen Black in it, dude. Come on, in part 4.
I have a Blu-ray of part 4.
Part 4 is great. I would give part 4 because that's the topic at hand, right? I would give that a 4.
Brandon, I wish you had a. I wish, like,
no, a
whenever
3.5. Better
Brandon,
than
whenever,
Uncle Sam.
if you ever retire, not anytime soon, because I love your Halloween, your decoration wall right here is great. But if you ever decide to retire for a little while, you should get a 27 by 40 of Children of the Corn 4 The Gathering and just put it right there.
I should. I'm gonna get the poster tattooed on my face.
Dude, you'd be remembered. Like, everybody, like, do you watch so and so on YouTube? Like, who? Oh, he's the guy with the Children of the Corn Part 4 poster right next to
And he
him.
never changes it.
And he never changes it.
Dude, I'll do it. Don't tip me.
Well, you can get it 27 by 40 for $20 on the website I use. All right,
I swear
Brandon.
to God, I had a poster of that in the 90s, dude, from the video store.
Oh, you probably did.
I swear I did, but I can't.
Brandon, let me ask you your thoughts on Children of the Corn 4 out of 5 stars, The Gathering.
3.5.
That's it? But it's the best. So you have low standards for the first 3 Children of the Corn
I think
films.
3.5 is respectable because Uncle Sam's a 3. Children of the Corn 4 is a 3.5. It's not a 4 because there are some dull moments. I think 3.5 because it's at a 5. So it's only a 1.5 down.
Well, my point is not so much that you gave it a respectable rating, but that means you probably have even lower ratings for the first 3 Children of the Corn. That's what I'm saying.
I would give part 3 a 3.5 also. I just think part 4 has the edge.
Okay.
Sort of like the Scream Frighteners debate. But part 2, I can't really comment on, but part 1 would be a fucking 1 out of 5.
Do you find that? So you probably find it really weird that is my favorite Stephen King film.
Children of the Corn 1?
Yeah, I love that movie.
I know a lot of people who swear by it, so it's not weird to me at all. It's a split camp. And I'm not sure why it is. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't hate it. I just think it's really I just can't watch it. I'm too ADD or something. I don't know what it is. The third act is good of part 1, but the first act is just so I can't get through it.
I understand. All right, Brandon, we got a few more, then we're gonna call it a night. Mars Attacks, 1996.
Oh god, that's a 2. That's a 2 for me. Maybe even 1.5.
It's Tim Burton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he was kind of lost at this point?
I don't know what it is, but I'm not. I've seen it a million times. I have trading cards. I have the making of book from the 90s, but that movie has been not one of my favorites since it came out, and I've not warmed up to it at all. Really, like it's okay.
They're flooding Spirit Halloween with this movie right now, Brandon.
Yeah, and I want the animatronic, but there's something so
it doesn't hit.
I don't want to say vanilla because the cast is great. It's a huge scope movie, really expensive. There's just something I don't know, man. The Image comic books are terrifying, and that movie is just so hokey and gimmicky. Like even the original trading cards are sort of the same art style as the movie, but they're serious. And the movie is just so it reeks of the worst part of the 90s for me. You know?
Well, I mean, are you a fan of the great Michael J. Fox in that film though? Isn't he in that
Mars
movie?
Attacks.
Yeah,
Mars
doesn't he have a small role in Mars Attacks? Or am I losing my mind?
I couldn't even tell you. Because there's so many. That movie is filled with nothing but A-list actors. You know what I mean? It's nothing but A-list actors. Like Jack Nicholson's the fucking president, and it's just like it still blows my mind that Tim Burton made that movie, and they got that many cast members involved.
He is.
Like Glenn, yeah, is he?
Yes, I knew he has a small role, but I knew Michael J. Fox was in Mars Attacks.
Is he wearing like a hat?
No, he's like I forget his character. Like he's like he's a suit and tie kind of guy. Like he's on the phone making calls. That's what I remember.
Yeah, that movie is just it's a slog, dude.
Jason Stone is his character name.
Right. I can't get through Mars Attacks.
He's a television news anchorman and the boyfriend of Natalie Lake. I remember liking him in the movie, though. But it's been a long time since I've seen it myself, so I can't really comment. I'd probably say, I don't know. I don't want to comment, but it doesn't look like the audience. Well, some people like it. Some people are giving it 3 stars, 3.5 stars. Other people are giving it, 2 stars. We actually talked about that a little earlier, Michael. We love Bad Moon. I love Bad Moon. Brandon hadn't seen it. I told him it's great though.
Mm.
Jack Black isn't Marsec. All right, Brandon. We got a few more movies. Stephen King's Thinner.
I've only seen it once, and I can't remember a thing about it.
I really like Thinner.
I've heard nothing but good things about that movie.
Oh, I love it. It's the great Tom Holland
Yeah.
directed.
I might have seen it again in the early 2000s, but again, I can't remember a damn thing about it. Versus I might have enjoyed it, but it didn't stick with me.
I'd give Thinner 4 stars. I think
That
it's
was
really
96,
good.
huh?
Pick up
Holy
sticks.
shit. Jesus.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Thinner. I think that's a great Tom Holland and Stephen King movie. So, we got some love, we got some hate for it. So, I think you'd like it. You should check that out again.
I should.
Next up, we have 2 more movies
Mhm.
from 1996. The next movie is Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood.
Ooh. If I remember correctly, I think I liked it better than Demon Knight, right? But I can't remember those movies very well.
Demon Knight is 1000% the fan favorite, but Bordello of Blood is the more wacky vampire.
Yeah.
I love to death Bordello of Blood. I am a Bordello of Blood. It's got Corey Feldman. It's got Chris Sarandon.
Yeah, I don't remember too
As
much
that
about it, but I do
preacher.
remember enjoying it. But I can't give it a rating.
Bordello's sexier.
Mhm.
I gotta go 3.5 stars for Bordello of Blood. I'd probably go 3.5 as well for Demon Knight, but I give the edge to Bordello. I would. I think Bordello Bordello is more rock and roll.
So Bordello was 96. When did Demon Knight come out? Was that 94 or 95?
Might have been 95.
Because I remember a lot of there was a lot of promo stuff for Demon Knight, right? When that movie was coming out. It was the first Tales from the Crypt
95.
movie. But I feel like Bordello of Blood, I didn't see a whole lot about that movie coming out as a kid versus the scope of the promotional campaign for Demon Knight back then. It's bizarre.
The hype might have, died down by that point. I don't know.
Wasn't the show still ongoing when Demon Knight came out, or did that sort of cap off the end of the series?
I think it capped it off.
Okay. So it was
I
already
think.
over by the time Bordello of Blood came out. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But that movie just came and went from what I remember. Like, I remember Demon Knight being a big deal, sort of. But Bordello of Blood, I saw like a couple commercials that came and fizzled out. I didn't see either movie in theaters either. It was on home video.
Trying to pick out another movie that's a good one.
Your last option should be The Crow, City of Angels.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing it on air, but
Which
definitely,
is a 5.
I'd go
Fucking
pretty
5.
high.
That's a 5.
Brandon, pitch the audience why The Crow, City of Angels is in fact better than The Crow.
I don't know if I would say better, but I might enjoy it better. But I don't know if it's a better film. But Iggy Pop as Curve is fucking a delicious villain in every sense of the word. He's creepy. He's on point. The acting's fantastic. He's hilarious. He's scary. His lines are fucking awesome. That's probably one of the best parts of the movie. Ash is a great Crow. I think he rivals Brandon Lee's Crow and Eric Draven from the first movie because his kid's killed. So in the first movie, the guy's wife is getting killed. Second movie, it's his kid. I'm rambling. The City of Angels looks great. It's covered in like a yellow film. I love the miniatures on display here. The cinematography is great. Every street's covered in glass. The score is fantastic. The soundtrack's fantastic. I can go on and on, Christian, with just little points of interest, but can I summarize why it's so good in one paragraph? Probably not. But yeah, everything about The Crow, City of Angels works for me. I know a lot of people call it a carbon copy of the first movie, but lesser. I disagree. I think the director's cut, the real director's cut, would be the primo version to see, but we're probably never going to get that because that footage is long gone. Who knows where it is or what happened to it. But even the version that we have, I think, is different enough from the first movie to stand on its own. So the fact that it was ever like, oh, it's just the same movie again, blows my mind. It's not the same movie. It's the same movie in the sense that something terrible happens and the guy's coming back to avenge it. But I think the fact that he's wearing the face paint again is natural enough because Sarah from the first movie is in this movie and she has Eric Draven's mask. So the lineage is right there. That explains it enough for me versus part 3 and 4 when it just gets preposterous. The idea of the guy in the face paint again. But again, I could ramble about this fucking movie for 2 hours without making any sense. But The Crow City of Angels is a underrated masterpiece in my opinion. And definitely a 5-star rage fest.
I gotta say, I remember you did a video about this, and I was watching it, just to watch it, and I do have to admit, I went into The Crow City of Angels, me and my wife, because we hadn't seen it, and I was like, Sydney, Iggy Pop, because she knows I'm a big Iggy Pop fan, or I know I'm a big Iggy Pop fan, and I told her about it, and she is as well, and she was like, oh, we got to see this, and I think she might have mentioned about the movie to me before. Years in passing, but we watched The Crow 2 City of Angels and we both were like, holy shit, like that is my Crow movie. There's no doubt in my mind, which is, I don't know. I just think it's way more stylish. I like The Crow. Don't get me wrong. God bless Brandon Lee. I love Brandon Lee. As a matter of fact, he did a movie with Dolph Lundgren I really, really love called Showdown in Little Tokyo. It's really good. But The Crow 2 was like my Crow movie. It really is. So I fucking love it. So
I think I've watched it way more times. Yeah. I hear you. People sleep on that movie, man.
And I understand why. I think they just figured, you know what, like this whole thing's in bad taste to them. It's just like, the guy passed away and they're, it's just like, let the movies need to die. Maybe not in like a, how dare you like the films, but I think they go in, they almost like they don't want to. I feel like people almost probably just don't want to see the movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they just think about Brandon. I don't know. Brandon Lee, not you. Maybe they think about you. I don't know. Brandon Tabata is The Crow. City of Butter.
I love it.
Somebody's going to make an edit of that now of you.
Give me a steak.
The Crow City of Butter.
Fucking A.
Oh, man. Anyway, guys, listen, I had a great time tonight. So, Brandon, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give Mountain Dew Voodoo? Do you need to drink more of it to make an educated opinion, or are you good?
I have another bottle I'm going to try tomorrow, but right now I'm going to give it like a 6 out of 10. Actually, no, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm halfway right now.
Well, the aftertaste is what's swerving me. Do the aftertaste taste completely different from the initial swig?
Yeah, it
tastes like some kind of exotic fruit.
It does have a weird fruity flavor. Yeah, it's just kind of bizarre, man. After I finish that second bottle, I don't see myself buying it again intentionally. Yeah. Well, you got the 12-pack, so you're screwed, but I can't see myself buying another one of these bottles, dude. It's just kind of, I think a lot of the Mountain Dew flavors, besides the Code Red and regular flavors, are just kind of hit and miss for me anyway. And this is another example of that.
Yeah. But we're suckers for Halloween, so we got to get it. We got to try it.
That's right.
They put them out.
Right.
Brandon, anything you want to tell the audience before we call it a night?
I do not. There's nothing I want to say. Good night. Get out of my face. Go away.
There you go, guys. We love you.
Mongolian beef. It is off the chain. Oh, it's crispy. Dude, it's fantastic. That shit is fantastic.